welcome back, Carnivore Raw. So, we are talking about why a lot of people don't want to go carnivore because they think it's expensive, right? Well, while I'm doing this, I'm going to get my face ready. So, carnivore is expensive, that old adage thing, right? Well, rather than going through all the things that you need to buy, that'll be another video. Let's talk about the things that you no longer will need to purchase, in a sense. I think that's easier. So personally for myself, although I am doing my makeup, this is makeup that is very relatively cheap. It's just high source stuff, but I don't wear it every day now. Like what would normally only last me 2-3 weeks or maybe a month is now 6 months down the line. And I'm not buying creams to correct issues with my face, like the retinol cream that I used to put my face on for a shower. I'm not using the after sun to put onto my skin to fill in my pores. What else am I not buying? I'm not having to buy Sensodyne toothpaste, which we all know is about £4, even in the cheaper shops. I'm not having to buy sunscreen. I'm not having to buy after sun. I'm not having to buy Sensodyne toothpaste, face creams. Oh, I'm not having to buy my really expensive hair plumping shampoo because I don't need that anymore. I've got all these fine baby hairs starting to grow everywhere, and my hair is now thick enough that I don't need them. What else do I not buy? Apart from the obvious stuff, like I'm not buying snacks, I'm not buying juices, I'm not buying breads, I'm not buying so much washing powder because we don't need to wash our clothes so much anymore. So therefore I'm saving on electric. Our showers are now cut in half because we're not having to use sort of like all these body washes all the time, so they're lasting 3-4 times longer. Deodorants are lasting 3-4 times longer. Our electricity bill has gone down massively. Our food shop, and I mean I've got six full-grown adults in my house, and I mean, sorry, I've just knocked all of that. So we're feeding ourselves each week as full-grown adults with about £90 a week, and I am letting the younger members of the household who have a right to choose. I'm still buying them their rice, some of their potatoes and things like that, but predominantly they've stopped eating crisps and biscuits, because we used to go through a lot of those each week. They really did love their stuff like that. We're no longer buying mountains of tea, coffee and sugar, and I mean my household would go through on average between 4 and 6 pints of milk a day on tea and coffee. We are no longer doing that. A loaf of bread would last a day, now that lasts a week. I'm not buying 2 packs of chips, I'm not buying 6 pizzas, I'm not buying nuggets and dippers, all the spices, all the jars. Like our household, with Italian people in, I mean, it was massive for tomatoes. We'd have fresh tomatoes, tinned tomatoes, passata, tomato puree, all of those things. We don't purchase those anymore. So what else are we not buying? We're not spending so much on fuel because we were running out of those little things, and it was cheaper to go to the supermarket. Mentally it was, but actually it was costing us a lot more, purely because we weren't just popping over the road paying that extra 20-30p. We were then consuming fuel. What else? Oh, water. We're not using so much water. I'm not sure if, or I can't remember if that's already been discussed, but we're not using so much water. Even though we are more active, we are going to the gym, we are swimming, things like that. I know we do shower at the gym, so it does have a bit of a cutback. Since if you're going to pay the gym price, you may as well use all of their amenities. So what else? Food wise, we're not consuming as much either. I mean, we would spend 150, 160 pounds a week food shopping, and half it raw, half it wouldn't be used, or it'd sit in the bottom of the freezer. And we're not going through that, like the tin stuff. Like my boys over night time would get peckish and they'd eat, tins of soup, tins of ravioli. They still make the odd like toasty of an evening time and things like that, but they're not, consuming so much of it. They're sleeping better, and they're going to bed earlier. So that also means they're not up gaming all night, they're not charging their phones all night and things like that. They're actually not, like, I mean, on average, what we were spending, it must have been, on some days, it could have been, well, I remember the highest amount we had in 1 week of electric consumed was £120. Could you imagine? £120 in a week. Because they were cooking, consuming and cooking and charging and playing games and things like that. And that doesn't seem to be happening so much anymore. They're out and about, they're sleeping, so that they're going to bed at a reasonable time rather than staying up all night. They are waking up early and getting out of the house and going and doing stuff. So that saved us a massive amount as well. My pets have become a lot happier because they are getting, tidbits of raw beef and raw chicken. We still give them like their cat food and things, but they are essentially getting globs of yogurt, which is good for them. They're getting globs of raw chicken and gristle and fat from meat. If there's excess too much, they are getting that. So what we were spending on average, I mean, we could spend anywhere each week or each month. Oh, and the alcohol thing. So being big alcohol consumers, so it'd be 1 or 2 bottles of wine a night, maybe between 4 and 6 beers, a bottle of wine, maybe a spirit, and half of that would go, that is a considerable amount of money, and we're not doing that anymore. Or we'll be drinking fizzy water with lime, fizzy water with a squash. None of that's happening. Excuse me, I've got a bit of I'm still, because we're only new into this whole journey, like we're still getting certain little symptoms, but I was having to spend between £10 and £20 a week on painkillers because I suffered TMJ. If you don't know what TMJ is, it's dilapidating, it's absolutely horrendous, and that's migraines, constant migraines, and being tight. So I'd be like stuck up in my bed most days in absolute pain with hot water bottles and things like that. I wasn't living a life. If I went out shopping or whatnot, that's me done for 3 days. You wouldn't see me. I couldn't cook, couldn't do anything. It was really no life, and I suffered that 6 years. My poor youngest child was beside himself because I literally was dying, and he could see it. You can't hide it when you're suffering TMJ because the pain hits so fast and hard sometimes. But we've that's another thing we're saving on prescription medications, because if you have an NHS certificate, it doesn't matter how many medications you have. It's like £10.32, so you register, pay that each month, or you pay a year, it's like 123, and that's all your medication covered through the NHS. So yeah, that's stopped. We're not watching TV as much, so all our subscriptions have gone now. Like, I think we have like 2 subscriptions. That's it. Anything else? Well, we're not going out to eat. Like, we used to do sort of like once a week, maybe like get a kebab or do a pizza night, do a curry night. So again, like, I mean, when I think about it, we were spending an absolute fortune, and we were miserable. I mean, we'd have many nights where we'd have a drink and we would talk about, obviously, household problems and what's going on and things like that. And it's the only time we would really talk about it. And over weekends, that would up the ante, really up the ante, because it's a weekend. It's what you did. You go to the pub and things, see your friends, see your family or whatnot, and you'd consume a lot more and then get nothing done because you felt rotten the next day. So that's stopped. So we've gained that back. We're getting stuff done around the house, and we are not having to have such serious chats because people's mental health is much better. So, because I was seriously going to counselling to deal with some of the stuff that I was dealing with, but I don't need that anymore. My head's clear. I'm not overthinking everything all the time. When we do talk about stuff, it's normally about when we're going to the gym, when we can swim, what we are now, what are we going to be doing next weekend, how are we going to fill our time, what needs doing around the house. We're not laying in till 12, 1 o'clock. We're up on the weekends, nice, bright and early, and getting stuff done. So the cost of it and things like that, actually, it's because you're adding in all the rest of this rubbish that we have to buy to make ourselves feel better. And you're not going to need any of that anymore, not unless you're going out and you want to do it, because you're wanting to treat yourself, or you're going out somewhere really nice and you just want to put a little bit on. But as you say, I haven't really put anything on, and I've got this massive box of makeup, and it's hardly being touched now. So I know it's going to last a while. I know people go, ooh, old makeup. Well, when your body's not fighting to kick all of this rubbish out of your system, you'll find my makeup will last days. I can wear it overnight and I'll wake up and I won't have spots, things like that. Also, like, your socks don't smell anymore, your feet don't smell anymore, you're not hardly using any toilet roll because you're not toileting 3-4 times a day. You go maybe once, and you only eat when you're hungry. Like, sometimes you have to remind yourself to eat because you're so busy that, can you imagine not feeling hungry? And you know when you're hungry because you get tired. That is what I've discovered. When I start to feel tired and unmotivated, that is my body telling me that I am hungry. So I eat then. It's no longer I'm falling asleep in my chair watching TV when I'm supposed to be spending time with my family. That is when we're now talking and we're having fun, and the boys will still have maybe an energy drink at some point and things like that. But they're not angry, they're not frustrated. There's no more arguing, and that's worth more than money. So think about that. Think about all the stuff you're not going to be buying, rather than all the things that you need to buy. You know, when you've got young ones, like, it will be a bit more difficult. How hard are you having to fight your young ones to get them to eat vegetables and salad? Like, I know some kids love it. And I'm not saying this diet or lifestyle, because it's not really a diet, it's a lifestyle. It doesn't suit everyone. Not everyone has to do it. But I would give it a try. You know, don't dismiss it just because that is what you've always done. And we've always had vegetables. You know, and I love vegetables. I used to cook extensive dinners. I'd spend hours and hours lovingly preparing these dinners for the family with all these amazing vegetables. So I've only just cut my hair again. I cut my own hair now. You know, lovingly preparing all these vegetables and things like that, and you know, putting stuff on meats and curing things and making sauces and none of that happens anymore. Like tonight, we're just having sausage, bacon, eggs. And if the boys want to have, you know, some beans with some butter and stuff in them, they can have those. Essentially, you know, they do those themselves. There's none of that, like, oh, I don't know how to cook that, but I really fancy this. So we have none of that. So dinner's gone from me prepping and cooking and switching the oven on and it costing, you know, £5 a time to make dinners for everybody. And that's not even including the ingredients. Down to £1.62. So, you know, I think we're down to between £6 and £9 a day on electric, which is still extortionate. When you've got 6 grown adults in a household putting in, it's not really. So think about if you've only got 2 adults and a child, you know, you may be spending, you know, between £3 and £5 a day. I don't know. It's been a long time since there's been hardly anyone in my house, you know. So there's less water consumption. The kettle doesn't go on as much. Because I mean that kettle's on 20, 30, 40 times a day. That's not happening anymore. But that's just a natural part of the course, because at first you're still an old habit, so you're going to do that. We still drink coffee in my household, but I've got one of those really posh Sage machines, so it's like freshly ground beans that I keep in the fridge. Freshly grind those and make a coffee with cream. So yeah, don't believe the hype. If you're thinking about going carnivore, think about the things you're not going to have to buy anymore, because a lot of people don't talk about that. All right, that is what's not spoken about. All right, so enough. I'm not going to bore you anymore, but yeah, I'm off to the gym. See you later. And yes, I wear makeup to the gym because I don't sweat, even though I'm pushing myself really hard, and I'm not swimming today. So yeah, I want to go out afterwards and still look nice. So all right, love and light all. Now think about it.